I just released my short film Dasamaha Yodayo, so I thought I'd make a video breaking down all the steps that take to make a 3D animated short film and explain it as simply as possible so that even if you're not from the 3D animation industry, you would know what it takes to make a 3D animation film. We might also have some cool ideas that you haven't seen in other 3D animation productions, so make sure you watch all the way through. The most important part in any film, whether it's 3D animation or live action, is the story. No matter how great your visuals are, people won't engage if the story isn't compelling. Since our story is based in Sri Lankan history, we had the foundation for our story, but writing the script was quite a challenge. This was actually my first time trying to create a short film, so initially I hired 3 writers to help me write it, but they didn't really get the tone I was going for and the dialogue wasn't quite right, so I had to try writing myself. This is where ChatGPT came in handy. I built a custom GPT, defined the tone I was aiming for, and started writing. I also used cell text to structure the script. Then Rukshan, one of my teammates, translated it into Sinhala, our native language. If you're interested to know how I use ChatGPT to write the script, leave a comment below and I'll make a video about it. While developing the script, I also created concept art for camera angles and key shots I had in mind. This stage is all about experimenting and refining ideas before jumping into production. And then next comes storyboarding. One of the most critical steps in an animation production is storyboarding. Since we had a very limited budget, I couldn't really hire storyboard artists to do this. We handled this in a totally different way. So what we did was we actually created our characters first and we used the characters for our storyboard, sort of like a previs. Sometimes the budget and lack of resources can force you to make changes to your workflow, so it's important to be flexible. Next, we have the character props and the environment modeling stage. I started gathering tons of reference images from Pinterest and ArtStation and compiled them into PureF. And then I sketched out the character designs and began modeling in Blender. Typically you would sculpt your characters first, but since we didn't have a lot of time, I had to polymodel them. Polymodeling is an older technique that was used a lot before sculpting software was introduced. Since the story is set in ancient Sri Lanka, we needed everything from architecture to props to reflect that era accurately. So we built everything from scratch. Next comes rigging. Rigging is where a skeleton system is used to move our characters. A good rigger ensures that the character has enough control points to allow for expressive posing and smoothing animation. After rigging, we assembled our shots, added 3D cameras and experimented with different lenses. And also we moved our cameras just like we would in a real film set. And before jumping into animation, we rendered all shots as previs. This step allows us to make last-minute story adjustments before committing to animation, which is one of the most time-consuming stages in an animation film. Animation is my favorite part of the process because this is where our characters come to life. We spend hours refining each movement to ensure natural and expressive performances. The process starts by posing the characters using the rigging controls, then adding keyframes to lock in each pose. We move from pose to pose, gradually refining the motion until the animation flows smoothly. Next comes lighting and rendering. Lighting is what makes an animation feel cinematic. Unlike real-world filmmaking, animation gives us total control over lighting, allowing for dramatic and stylized visuals. For rendering, we use Blender's Cycles engine. Some frames took us hours to render, so optimizing our scenes was critical to keep render times manageable. Once rendering was completed, we brought the footage into After Effects for compositing. You can also do this in Nuke. Here we added all the render passes together to enhance the visuals. We even added extra effects like smoke and particles in this step. Then we moved everything into Premiere Pro for color correction and color grading. You can also do this in DaVinci Resolve. Color correction ensures that all the shots match consistently, while color grading applies a specific mood or style to the entire film. And then we have dubbing and sound design. A film isn't complete without sound design. We recorded voiceovers earlier in production. Our dubbing director Dilan Senahanaga has a video in his channel where we show the process of how we did the dubbing for this short film. So make sure you check it out. I'll put a link somewhere here. The sound effects and the background music was done for this short film by Peshal, who was our music director. Music is a key storytelling element, so we collaborated with him early on in the project to ensure the score complemented with the tone of our film. Once the sound effects were completed, we brought everything into our editing programs and did the final renders. And that's how we actually made a 3D animated short film in Blender. This film took us almost 1 year for the whole animation process alone. It was actually a huge passion project of mine, and we learned so much along the way. And we were also doing it while we were working on client projects, so it took a lot to actually get this done. If you're an aspiring animator or filmmaker, we hope this video gave you some insights into filmmaking. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll come back to you with some cool videos in the next one. Bye!